Hi everyone. In this lecture, we are going to talk about justify content. The HTML is going to stay the same. Let's just dive into the CSS. First, let's say display flex. We are creating a flex context. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that. So let's go ahead and let's actually talk about these. Now, I'm gonna, you know what, there is a lot of content there. Let's just, I don't know, decrease them to 10. So let's remove the rest of them. I'm going to remove that. So we have 10. 10 is a lot as well. Let's just keep it at 5 so we can understand what justify content actually does. So justify content is going to align our flex items along the main axis. And you might be asking, okay, what is the main axis? Now, in Flex, we have two axes. One is the main axis, and the second one is the cross axis. So the original Flex direction, when the Flex direction, now keep in mind, all of these axes, they depend on the Flex direction. If the Flex direction is row, the main axis is row, or inline, or horizontal, all three names. Then the cross axis is going to be perpendicular to the main axis. The cross axis is going to be column or block or vertical. You could call them all three names. So if the flex direction is column, then the main axis is going to be column or block or vertical. I feel like I need to write these. So let me just go there. I'm going to say flex direction row. Then what does that mean? Main axis is row / horizontal, whichever is easier for you to decipher. Horizontal / you could also call it inline. So, and if the flex direction is column, let's just write it from the start. So flex direction is column. Then main axis is block / vertical / column. There we go. And keep in mind that the cross axis is perpendicular to the main axis. They're always going to be perpendicular. And I could add to this as well, that as well. So I'm going to say cross axis is block / vertical / column. And the opposite is going to come for this. So axis, and I'm going to say cross axis is row / horizontal, come on, horizontal / inline. Now, if you want to know why do you need to learn this flex direction, why you need to know exactly what the direction of your Flexbox is, this is actually the most important and the most difficult thing in Flexbox. I mean, it looks very, very simple because it is simple, but this is the most difficult as well, because if you learn this, then you've actually mastered Flexbox. You need to know, first things first, you need to know after initiating a flex context, what is the direction of the Flexbox? Because that is going to specify main axis and cross axis, and main axis and cross axis, they are going to specify which properties apply on which kind of axis and how your items, flex items, they are going to be aligned. So the reason that this is important is because if you don't know the direction, you will never be able to lay out or arrange or align your items in a better way, in a good way. Flex is used for alignment. If you don't know flex direction, you will not be able to do flex alignment. This is as simple as it is. So justify content aligns content along the main axis. So if the flex direction is row, which by default it is going to align them horizontally. So we are not changing the justify. content. There we go. So we are not changing the flex direction. We know the default is row. So our main axis is going to be horizontal. And now if I say flex start, this is going to be the default value. And we know default means it's not going to have any effect. There we go. Let's take a look at another one. Justify content flex end. Now before actually applying this, let's talk about what is the start. Now the start of the main axis is flex start. The end of the main axis is flex end. So if you say flex start, it means they're going to be arranged towards the start of the flex container. Flex's main axis, and if you say flex end, they're going to be arranged towards the end. That's why when you save it, the flex items are shifted there. They're shifted. It's very different than saying flex direction row reverse, because in row reverse, list item 1, it starts instead of list item 5. In this case, whenever you are justifying or aligning flex items using parent properties or flex container properties, all the items, they're going to move collectively. Keep that in mind. The items are going to move collectively as a whole, as a unit. So what we did was grab this unit of 5 items, grab it from the flex start, put it in the flex end. We didn't do anything else. We basically switched their place collectively, in general. And no, that's not right. Collectively is better. There are other properties here as well. We could also say justify content if you want it to be center, which is a very good use case for Flexbox. This is what justify content center means. I told you that we are going to come back to this. I've used it like a couple of times before, and now you know what it actually does, why we used it there. We also have some other properties for property values for justify content. The first one is space around. Space around is going to put spaces around the flex items. Now the way to actually understand what is happening here is, can you see the space from the left edge of my screen, left edge of the browser, all the way to the left edge of the item 1? This space is equal to half of the space between list item 1 and list item 2. Half of the space between list item 1 and list item 2 is going to be equal to half of the space between here. So any item, the space around all the items is actually equal, because this half space belongs to list item 1 and half of this space belongs to list item 1. Half of the remainder belongs to list item 2. Half of the starting space also belongs to list item 2. So the space is going to be equal. That's what it means by space around. We also have 2 more values for here. We have space between. This is going to put all the space between the elements. Now this space is equal to this, and equal to that. We also have one more, and that is justify content space evenly. Space evenly is saying that all the spaces around the items are going to be equal. So this space is equal to this, all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All these spaces are equal. But space around said half of the space is going to be equal to the first space. So half of it was equal. For this, the entire space is equal. So this is what justify content does. This is how it arranges stuff. Depending on our application and depending on how we want to lay out our website components, we are going to use one of these per flex context. So with this, our lecture comes to an end. See you in the next one.